This is Inge coming to you from Denmark to talk about my passion for knitting and also crocheting. Today's topic is summer yarns and summer projects because spring is here in Denmark now. It's been a fantastic weather the past weeks. We've had around 18 degrees centigrade, which is around 64 degrees Fahrenheit, and this is actually fairly good for the season here in Denmark. So yeah, well, this led to quite a spring spree to investigate all the different types of summer yarns, or at least many of them, because yeah, why not let the woolen projects aside for a bit and start designing something new in the summer yarns. So this is what I've been doing the past weeks. With all the inspiration from the springtime here and the garden blooming, the flowers in many colors and the bright light, oh, it's lovely. So I thought, well, I got inspired to do something with a flower bud, and I saw some reels or shorts on different knitting stitches that inspired me very much. So I thought, well, now I will start with one of the summer yarns that I actually also used for the first ever design of mine for adult knitwear. And this is this Cecilia from Svarta Ford. I don't know if I pronounce it right. Sorry, Swedish people. But this is, this is a Swedish brand. So I've come to enjoy very much, I would say. So, but this is not where I started. I thought this time you will do like a test knit and try to figure out how to do the increases before you start the actual garment. So I made this swatch, and it actually worked out with the increases in a way to fit my body and to have the 24 centimeters before separation for the arms. So I saw this, I'm not sure you can see it that much here. I can show it on this one at least. So it's a stitch where you knit in the back loop of 3 knit stitches, but in order to keep the same amount of stitches on the needle, you make a yarn over and you knit it again in the back loop. But in this way, you get this kind of a twist. And I thought this should be the base at the neck here. And then I wanted it to transfer into a flower bud. And when thinking of flower buds, I think, well, this requires a bubble in the middle and then some kind of round. And I have these knitting books with Japanese knit stitches, and I got inspired from one of them. And it turned out like this. So I played around and said, hey, different amount of stitches in the base of the bud and different ways of doing the bud, and this pearl stitch in between, so you get this expression or visuals of the knit. And I looked at it and I slept on it, as I say, and then I wasn't quite content. And then I thought, well, I have made the test knit, so now I can just move on to the real knit and just make the alterations as I like it. That's how I think. Okay, so that's what I did, and now I have turned up with yet another test knit, however, in my size, because I actually don't have, I have kind of a vision, but I don't know where I'm going. So this time I have let myself totally free, and I let the needle speak, so they do something. I don't know what it is when I start, and I don't even know how to write these stitches, or if you heard my last episode, I like journaling and noting down on the way so I can repeat and learn and adjust. But this time I think it kind of killed the creativity. So I just knit along, and now I missed these borders on one of the things. I missed a border around here. I think it flowed out in the knit So I could do this with decreases here, and then I need to increase again, and I'm doing it in one stitch with 5 yarn overs. And then here, these, instead of using the purl stitch, I use knit slip stitches and so on. And I'm here now, and I think I just need one more of those, then I am ready with the yoke. I haven't made the after calculations yet, so I don't know if I'll reach the stitch count and then I can separate at once with the sleeves, or I just need a little of raglan. But that's okay. I will do the calculations now before I make the last leaf here. But yeah, I'm quite content, and I simply enjoy so much this ideation process when you make it, and when you reach the sleeves and the body, it's kind of just do it and you can relax. So you have bits and pieces of both processes that you like, the relaxing part and the very creative part. Yeah, so this was the first yarn. This was a blended yarn. So let's move on to all the different yarns and their properties, and which ones I prefer. So buckle up, here we go, surfacing a bit of material science. We have 3 main fiber types. We have an animal fiber, a plant fiber, and a man-made synthetic fiber. And the animal fiber is the well-known woolen fibers, which are proteins from the hair of the animals, just like our own hair is a protein. Then we have the plant fiber yarns, which are carbohydrates. These are polymers of glucose units called cellulose, and cellulose is part of the plant cell wall. Then we have the third main group, which are the man-made synthetic fiber. These are polymers made of oils or natural gases, and hence not of a natural material like the plant fiber or the animal fiber. So why would you use a plant fiber yarn? Whereas the woolen animal protein fiber keeps you nice and warm and isolated, the plant fiber yarns and also the man-made synthetic fibers, they keep you nice and cool. And this is exactly what we want during summertime. So first I revisited pure cotton yarn, because pure cottons, pure linens, and pure hemp is a natural plant yarn requiring less of chemicals than the what we call the biosynthetic yarns. I'll get back to those. But this 100% cotton, it is soft. This is an Egyptian one from the brand Drops, which I have come to enjoy for more reasons. The quality I find very good to the price, and they make sure to certify their vendors or their suppliers, and you can have them without so much chemistry, at least their wools, it's non-superwash, and yeah, I find it nice to the quality. And when you play around a lot and knit a lot, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, you won't cry as much if you have a fairly affordable yarn. And then when you have a final design or you want to do something special, you can treat yourself with a very expensive yarn. Back to the cotton. So, but I find that the cotton, when I use it and wear it and wash it, it may become a bit stiff and sturdy, and sometimes the cotton, 100% cotton, can get skewed or out of shape. So I like the cottons here, and they are good for many purposes for sure. I found inspiration from a knitter which is called Nataly Masters, and she made these petals into a V-neck blouse, and I thought, well, I would like a summer dress. I showed you in the last episode my first attempt, and I got quite stubborn because I have to be able to make a dress that is not so heavy and looks totally wrong on me. So I thought, well, why not try cotton and try to make a bit more holes, then it won't get so heavy. And I saw this nice, and it's a crochet project. So I did that, and it's made by fractional hooks. By that I mean I start up here with a smaller size hook, and I grade it, you can see it on the picture beside me, to a bigger size, because then you know you don't have to add more petals to the work. It just widens out as you go along, because it's a top down. So you make one and add one more, row by row, and then you end up with a dress. It's kind of a bead throw, so so you have a thin blouse or dress, or what's it called, yeah, tank top, a long tank top to the knees underneath, and then you can wear it like this. And when I should block this, I did it the usual way. It was a big piece to have on my table or blocking mats, and it was a bit of a hard. And then I thought, well, my mom had a tip back in the day. She made a solution of starch and water and soaked it and put it out on a blocking mat. She did these very lacy in between napkins, between the plates, so that when she was setting the table, they were in between. And she made different ones for Easter, for Neutral, for Christmas, and for the Royal Danish China, which is white and blue. So she made these, and I thought, well, I was not used to this method, but in old days they were you iron shirts using this kind of ironing starch. So I thought, well, I'll try to buy this one and then spray it on the dress, and I did, and ironed it, and then I got it not wrinkled, but flattened out, so you could clearly see the petals of this crochet work. So you would say the benefits, it feels light because I have many holes. If this was a piece with no holes, I guess this would be very heavy as well. But it worked. But in wear, I would say again, this gets bigger, and I made this neckline smaller. It's become very wide. I can fix it, of course, and do kind of a new crochet border here, so no problem. But this is one of the characteristics with this 100% cotton. I find there are many qualities and also ways of using the material, but I find it's quite it gets a bit stiff, and so this led me to try another natural plant fiber, and this was linen. So this is 100% linen yarn from BC Yarn, and to the touch it feels a bit rough. It feels, as a stiff grass, or so to speak, which it actually is, the cellulose part of it. And it is, I won't call it plied. Excuse me that I'm certainly not a fiber expert, but maybe you can see here, it is applied a bit. So this is not so prone to getting your needle stuck in when you knit, so that in a plant yarn you can see this Cecilia yarn. You can see here the threads, the plant threads here. Sometimes your needle gets stuck in between, and if you don't see it at once, it'll show on your knitwear. So yeah, back to the linen, 100% linen. I tried this because this is very cooling and nice to the touch. I made this from a Japanese designer. You can see the picture beside me. This piece is made by making two rectangulars, and you knit it this way, and then just sewing together, and you have this kind of asymmetrical appearance of a very simple lace. So if you have made one report and the rows in the report you can memorize, and it's a very fast knit. And I've come to wear it a lot. At start it was a bit rigid. It's definitely very drapey, and these are the sure benefits. So it feels very comfy on your skin, and actually upon washing more times it gets even more soft. It's not soft than the softest alpaca or whatever, but it's not irritating my skin a bit, or it's, yeah, it's it is nice, but still a bit stiff. And one of the disadvantages with this, it's not wrinkle free, and I don't know if you can see it. So if you have stored it or put it in the closet, or if you block it and you're not aware of any, you know, fold or something, it will show in when it's dry. So you have to take care if you want to have it nice and smooth. I haven't ironed it. I think, well, let's have a look. Can you iron this one? Yes, you can. It has one dot, so you can iron, and you can actually wash it in the machine, 40 degrees. So this is a natural yarn, and you can wash it. We are used to wool not being washed in the machine, or at least I don't. But this is a side note. But you will hear me many times praise this Rauma yarn, because this Fino can act. You can wash it in the machine with wool wash, no problem. You can spin it, no problem. Perfect. Okay, this was the linen project. So now I tried the 100% yarn or fiber types from plant fiber, and then I thought I would move on to these blends. And the blends, they contain what goes under the names Vicose, Lyocell, Tencell, Rayon, and these names cover a different manufacturing process than the 100% natural plant fibers, because they are made from wood pulp or plant pulp. It could be bamboo, birch, pine, eucalyptus, sugarcane, many things. So I guess I'm not an expert, and I haven't dug that deep, but I guess the different names of lyocell, viscose, and so on, they cover different manufacturing processes and the number and kinds of chemicals used to make the pulp into a yarn that we can knit with. So when exploring with this, I tried. I liked the linen part of it, and definitely the bamboo part and the cotton. So I tried this from Hjertegarn. It's a Danish brand. It's called New Arezzo. It's very soft to the touch, and again, it's clearly with the plant fiber here, but this is kind of turned, plied, so that it's not that easily get caught in the yarn. And this was a crochet project as well, because crocheting is very fast, I find. So when exploring and testing, you can do this. And I saw a design or a picture of this one. I thought this was a nice pattern. So it's made from bottom up, and when you reach the yoke, you just add on more chains here, and then in order for the decreases to happen, this design, you can just have fewer of the stitches in each of the V-ports here, and then you end up with a yoke. It's a bit short in arms for me. I have quite an arm, so I would like to cover a bit more, but I could have just added something here. It had the same property as the cotton yarn. I made this neckline when I started, it was much smaller, so this yarn works and gets bigger. So when designing or when doing a project in these plant yarns, it's important, I find, that you make the gauge swatch and see what happens during washing, because you have to consider this when doing your project. Yeah, you see the designer beside me. But this is again very nice and drapey and cooling to the touch. So also a good yarn. I think there are many good summer yarns out there. Another bead throw over the tank top. Is this also a crochet? I saw a picture of a dress. You can see it beside me, and I thought, wow, this looks fantastic. I would try to make it. And I searched high and low for a design, but I couldn't find anything. Oh, I'm getting a bit distracted because my grandson is knocking on the door. Usually when he's out, he comes to visit. You know, we live in this family collective, and they live in one end, we're in the other end. My daughter and son-in-law and their grandson, he's a bit more than 2 now. It's a great life, I can tell you. You cannot expect your children to want to move together with you, so I am so blessed. I almost get to cry now. Okay, yeah. Linate I used for this one. Where was I? I searched high and low for a pattern, and I found out that these kinds with this, it was made by a woman. I don't know if she was an Indian woman or something. You could place an order and she would make one customized for you. And I thought, well, but there has to be a pattern. And I searched again on Ravelry, and as you can see next to me, I found one. So not exactly the one as I saw on the picture, but I thought this could be a good base for me to start, and then know what is the technique. You start with the brown petal here and work your way around and make it asymmetrical and different in the sides and so on. It was, you know, it challenged your head. I like when it challenges your head and you don't know what to do and you have to crack the code and crack the nut. This is what I enjoy, really. Okay, so back to this. I bought this yarn because I like this in the summertime, this light douche, I would call it green. I don't know actually what they call the color. I didn't look it up again. But anyway, Linate, it's from Lana Grossa, and it has 10% polyamide, 20% linen, 30% cotton, and 40% viscose / Rayon. So also on the label they call it many things. So I guess again these biosynthetic yarns, they go by different names, maybe depending on the chemical and the length or intensity of the manufacturing process to extract the cellulose fiber and make it into yarn. But this yarn, it's very soft, it's very drapey, it feels light. That's what I wanted, not to have a heavy dress dragging me down. But it was a bit hard. It's slick, or what do you call in English? Slick in Danish, it's candy. And slick in Norwegian is do like this, or yeah. So it has many meanings in different languages, but this is what I mean smooth. So I guess again, using wooden needles or bamboo needles with a bit more resistance on the surface would be better. However, this is a crochet piece, so that is the steel hook. Yeah. Moving on. So now we are in the white section of the pile here. I've come to enjoy the blend of bamboo and cotton very much, because it adds the properties of the biosynthetic yarn, the bamboo, to the cotton. And what are these qualities of the biosynthetic ones? It's the viscose, actually. It was invented back in 1883 as a substitute for silk being expensive, because this viscose has a very smooth touch, and it's kind of shiny and silky. I have an even better example for you when you call it Tencell. Look at this one. Very, very shiny and looks very silky. It's Tencell bamboo from Hobby. However, this was very hard to knit with, because these strands, they came apart very easily, and it's very it slides on the stitches. So I guess you need maybe bamboo stitches would be good, so the yarn is not sliding so much as on steel needles. Yeah, so I guess, as said, the combination of this silky-like feature with the bamboo and this kind of yarn being plied, as you can see beside me, I made a gift with cable work. So this was inspired by the St. Bridget. So I took something from St. Bridget and something from another Russian stitch designer and added in a piece. Usually this yarn is not very elastic, and when you knit with it, it feels stiff. But this yarn, cotton bamboo, and the design you see beside me with the cables, it is stretchy and nice, and up until now it hasn't been skewed or changed shape. So this is actually for me a very good combination. And when seeing the podcast from Knitting Traditions, Inga in Norway, she presented this Viking bamboo yarn. So they had a very nice sale here lately with 50% off actually. So I bought this to try. Thank you, Inga. So I will try this out. But the touch and the feel of it is kind of the same as this one. It looks a bit more silky perhaps. So it's a matter of taste, what you like. I'll try that one on for baby knits, but I also bought something for myself, and this is new. I usually don't wear pink and bright orange, but I thought, well, it's trendy right now, so I'll try to play around with these three and make something for myself for summer. Yeah, so I guess maybe probably me not knowing the details around it because I haven't dug that deep. But for me, Vicose, Lyocell, and Rayon and Tencell is interchangeably for what I now call the pulp yarns. So I have another Tencell example. This is a very dark, yeah, could you call it aubergine or something? Because one in my family loves these colors. I have never had such a piece in this color. But anyway, it says Tencell feels so right, and yeah, it does. It's very soft. I guess it would be very drapey, and whether or not it's elastic, as I find the cotton and the bamboo blend, time will show. Yes, then I thought, well, I would try to make a summer tee with slip stitches, you know, getting the hose in order also to make it a light piece and a bead throw or a quick throw on. So I bought this Fiesta from Civic. As you can see, it's shiny from the plant fiber pulp blend, but it's also kind of a bit fuzzy. So and it's in knitted yarn. I don't know the correct term for it, but it's kind of a knitted yarn, and it's very slippery, so you can see already now. So I guess it will be a bit hard to knit with, but this is 40% viscose, 35% cotton, and 25% nylon. And I guess when you add in the synthetic yarns being not natural, not wool, not protein fiber, not carbohydrate fiber, it adds strength. So definitely the benefits of synthetic yarn is the strength, the durability, the color fastness. The wools can sometimes change color, especially the white ones if you put them outside in the sun. Yeah, so definitely there are benefits from the synthetic fiber. We know that we like the polyester in the socks to provide strength to the heel, and this leads me to say that I've tried to figure out, would there be an alternative to the polyester in sock yarns? More of you YouTubers have tried out to use mohair instead, and I found this yarn, at least it's new to me, Onion, which use Nettles, yet another plant fiber, and it has the very good properties of also being very strong. So I bought these. You can see by now I love apple green and lemon green, green. So I will try to make socks of these. I have only made a couple of socks for my grandson, so this will be for myself, and I figured some kind of lace motif also. Yeah, so where were we? Different kinds of the blends with the viscose, with the pulp yarns. I say it's biosynthetic, but your tongue can stumble upon that name, so it's easier to say, yeah, pulp yarns. This yarn is Miranda from Civic. It's yeah, it is soft, but it feels kind of I think you can feel the linen part of it, but it's 43% cotton, 34% acrylic, and 23% linen. But the thing about this yarn, you have to like that it's a varying thickness throughout, so it gets another expression of your finished work. But I've made baby sweaters actually in this one, but the acrylic part is quite high, so maybe not for a baby knit, but for a knit which has to be durable, that would be better. But when we talk about the properties of the yarn, so the very best properties I find of wool and the plant fiber yarns is their ability to help you transpire and transport the moisture from your body, so you feel you can breathe and it doesn't catch up the sweat. The synthetic yarns do, the acrylic, polyester, and nylon. So I am that kind of person that when it gets trapped, I feel like it's yeah, I feel uncomfortable, but yeah, I guess it's a matter of preference or your body sweat or something. Yeah, have we seen enough different types? Maybe not. I have one example more, because also when I made this dress last summer, which was very heavy, I so much wanted to make a dress, also not with so much holes. And then I thought, well, you have to pick a yarn which is less grams per yardage, and maybe not a lace weight for sure, but not so bulky. And I found this twister yarn from Hobby, and it also contains quite a bit of acrylic. That's why I was a bit reluctant. But another good property of the synthetic yarns is that it's not so heavy, so it would feel lighter as a finished fabric. This is actually 100 grams with 400 meters or 437 yards. I haven't made anything yet. I've played around with it. Let's see if I can find the samples, because then I thought, well, maybe I got a bit tired of the dresses. Also, when seeing myself with one of the dresses, it was not so flattering, I would say. Yeah, you just have to be realistic. So I played around with this one and to see whether or not I would like to make a cardigan. So I tried different gauge sizes and different types of patterns. So I haven't put the label on yet, but like many other, I use this small code. Yes, I can see this is a stitch gauge 3.5, because I make 3 holes and 2 pearl dots. So 3 pearl dots would be 3.75 millimeters of gauge in metric sizes. But yeah, and this I can see is 4. So, but it hasn't spoken to me yet. So I have been fully occupied with the white design of mine to make the top-down tee, summer tee. Yeah. One last yarn, I guess, because last summer, again inspired by dresses and so on, I thought I saw videos from Alice yarns, the Turkish yarn, and they use a kind of acrylic which is a microfiber acrylic. I haven't dug into the manufacturing process, but I guess a lot has happened since I started the first knits back in 30 years ago at least. So I was intrigued by this long color shifts, and you could make dresses. There's an example here of you start with the inner core and it gets darker and darker, and then you can, if you need another ball, you can start from the dark end and go to the light end if you make a dress. And there are different methods I learned. So either you take one ball from the light to the dark and dark to light, or you can alternate between 2 balls and make 2 rows with one ball and then with the other ball, and then you would end up with all the dark at the bottom. And when I say start with the light and the dark down, it's because when I was taught color design, or back in the day, I was always taught that you have to wear the lighter fabric on top and darker blouses and so on. And I guess today there are no rules. You can do whatever you want, but it was, I guess, a way to get the eye to the head, because the lighter the color, the brighter or the more busy it's going, the eyes will be caught at that point. Yeah. Okay. I think this was yarn, so let's move on. I guess it's time to sum up the properties of the plant fiber yarns compared to the woolen yarns and the synthetic yarns. So I would try to do my best. I think I'll add in a clip with bullet notes, occupational hazard, and then I'll look at my notes not to forget anything. So the sorry for the crinkling then. So for the woolen fiber being a protein fiber from different animals. It keeps you warm and isolated due to the air trapped in the yarn. It has very much elasticity. When I made these koftas and you know, jackets and sweaters I showed you in the last episode for the Norwegian projects, I blocked the yarn, and I blocked it really heavy, and in a couple of days it found its own form. So it is very elastic. Okay. So temperature regulating, because you can transpire, it's breathable, and it transports the moist out, and it can absorb 1/3 of its own weight, so it's good in rainy weather. When you're sweating, still keeps you nice and warm to a certain degree. A thunder shower, I don't know if you would survive for hours. And I mentioned also the antibacterial properties, and it regenerating itself. So I guess you couldn't find a more bio-friendly or environmental friendly and sustainable product than yarns. They are very good. They are so durable. They last over many years. And I showed you last time this colorwork project I have, and I mentioned I made a small report, call it a memo or whatever. And this is my mother's kofte. It is 75 years old, and you couldn't tell. It looks as good as new, not pilling, not whatever. And I'm promoting because I like it, not because I get paid. I don't have any collaboration with companies. Okay, so these were the benefits of the wool, and now we have the plant fibers. So the natural ones, the cotton, the linen, the hemp, for example, which require less manufacturing and less chemicals than the biosynthetic ones, which can go by the names Vicose, bamboo, Lyocell, Rayon, and Tencell. I don't know if there's a specific difference. Maybe you can help me out. Please let me know if you know more about it. Leave a comment. I would love to learn the differences. But the properties of these biosynthetic plant fiber yarns, which I call now pulp yarns, blend yarns, they keeps you cool, which is what you want during summertime. It's very drapey. It's also moist wicking. You can transpire, which is a very good thing. And what is not so good is it's not elastic if you compare it to wool. It's not forgiving. I can show you an example. I've made this in a rather large gauge. I guess it's needle size 6 millimeter. When you block a piece of wool and you have a bit of a different needle tension, sometimes it evens out, but you can see here it doesn't. So that's what you have to live with. Maybe it's better with a smaller gauge size, a smaller needle size. I don't know. I haven't tried it. Yes, I did. Yeah, it helps with a smaller needle size. So this is forgivingness. And then I find it a bit heavy or a bit hard to change a ball. So with these first projects I had with the plant yarns, I did it the same way as I did with the wool, you know, weaving the ends in. There are also different ways of doing this, but I didn't find it to work. So I tried another way using knots. And the knots, I learned back in the day that no knots in the work. So if there's a knot produced in the yarn, you have to cut it out and do something else. But can you see here where it is? It is here. You can definitely see it on the back, and I have perfected this, so how to do it and how to tighten and how to cut here. Of course, your worst nightmare is that it'll unravel, but it hasn't unraveled for me at all at now using the new method. So I have perfected it so it looks a bit better than this. But when you see this from afar, I mean, it blends in with all the small imperfections, but this one with it weaved, doesn't look good. So these were the benefits and the disadvantages of the plant fibers. Then we walk on to the synthetic fibers. The synthetic fibers, let's just see in my notes. Yeah, they have for sure, the synthetic fibers would be these acrylic ones, for example, or the polyester or nylon. They are very wrinkle resistant, so you have a smooth and drapey product. It's very strong and it's color fast, so it won't change color. It's very easy. No, it dries very easy or fast. So when you wet this to the core, it takes some time to dry, and it's resistant to stain. But I would say this too, because it kind of peels off due to the, yeah, no, I'm not a material scientist, but I guess the wool and the lanolin, it's like when your own skin, when it some drops of water, you know, it's, I don't know the English word, but it's praller af, hedder det. It's named in Danish. Okay, so I guess this was a quick summary of the benefits and maybe disadvantages of all the different fiber types, and it's been such a joy for me. I think it's funny to dig into it, and being a chemical engineer, of course, the manufacturing processes and chemical, everything interests me, but this is not necessary to knit a garment, I would say. Yes. Now moving on to the section of finished objects. So since I issued my very first vlog, it's been approximately 2 weeks, and I finalized 2 objects, and these are it's a balaclava from Petite Knit design. The only new thing I added was these rabbit pompons, because I find it so cute when the babies have these ears and their small smiles. I put on a picture of my grandson beside, smiling with these ears, such ears. So if you saw my last episode, you would know that I had a new design of mine for baby knits, and this is made in alpaca and wool. So in order to make a cozy outdoor nap set, I call it, because babies in Denmark, they nap outside in the cold in the wagon. There's a sweater and trousers and this hat, and I don't know where they are, small booties. So I made 2 of these sets for the babies to be born here in June and July. So these were the finished objects. And moving onwards to the whips, the projects on my needles. I usually have around 6 or 8 projects on my needles, because I like to have different kinds of difficulty levels and sizes, and where in the process I am. So actually I would like to have something new cast on, new ideas, the projects where it's just do it, finishing the arms or the body, and smaller, what's it called, accessories or large garments. You know the drill. So I have 8 projects on my needles right now. I don't think I will walk through every one of them. We can take them bit by bit in upcoming episodes, but I got so inspired by Knitting Traditions again when she showed this piece from Petite Knit, the Fiesta sweater. So I thought, well, the baby being born here in June should have a very small one. It's 3 months, so maybe he can wear it 1 or 2 times and that's it. But I'm also destashing when I have a small amount left. So this is Hjertegarn from a Danish brand called Lana Cotton 212. It's because there are 212 meters per 50 grams, and it's half cotton and half extra fine merino. So this is baby yarn, and it's superwash. It was before I learned more about chemicals used to actually take out the good abilities of wool. Yeah, okay, this is my opinion, but and when you can wash wool without the chemicals added, then yeah, that's what I go for now. But anyway, this was a sidetrack. So again, you see me amazed about the little things in life, and this is one thing. See, oh, the elasticity of wool. I've made room for actually a 9-year-old. You know, babies don't like to get trapped with their head again. They have tried it when going out of the mother. So, and look at the elasticity. Isn't it great? It's fantastic. So no aids here with elastic bands. It's the wool itself. This Hjertegarn is also a good quality commercial yarn. Yeah, so this will soon be finalized. Just missing the small arms, and I have what is this brand? I have many types of brands, so I don't recall right now. And I put the on hold by this. It's 3mm gauge. I guess it's less than 4 in the US size, and 2.5mm metric size for the neckband. Yeah. Another project of Petite Knit. I praised her in my last episode because when you want to learn new techniques or don't know how to do things, she's a good choice because she's explaining in much detail. I find what to do, and you can find her videos. Okay, now enough praise of the Danish designer, but this is what I have on my needles. It's is it the London hat? No, you can see beside me. She has many names for different types of hat, but this is with a folded brim. And I thought I would try out this Haya yarn. It's a combination of wool, I guess silk and yak. So it's very smooth and soft, but actually again a bit hard to make even, or maybe it's me being too much of a perfectionist. I don't know. But I tried the tip again to shift from my steel needles, which I love so much, and use these birch ginger knit pro wooden needles, which actually are quite smooth as well. So if you want it not to be smooth, to get more sticky, I would recommend bamboo needles. But I left those a couple of years ago because for my hands it's much easier when using steel needles or these kinds of needles. Okay, it's not about needles today. Another project on my needles is a sweater for my son. So this is yet another design from a Danish designer. She's called Hanne Larsen. You can see it beside me. It's called Uncle Christian, and she made it in I'm not familiar with the yarn sizes in English or American lingo, like Aaron or whatever weight, but she made it for a needle size 4 to 5, I guess, and I would like one. It's in needle size 3, so with a tall guy like my son, it's a big project on needles size 3 millimeter, and I use this Sandnes yarn merino. It's 100% merino, non-superwash, and this is also very, very elastic. Yeah, you heard the praise of walls, but this is made bottom up. You make the body, and then you I moved on to the sleeves. I started out with a magic loop to make 2 sleeves at one time, but yeah, I don't know if it's me, if it will block out, or I'm a perfectionist, whatever, but I saw this unevenness. Can you see it? Or is it just me? Anyway, I separate it into 2, and then I take a couple of rounds on one sleeve and a couple of rounds of the other one, and then, you know, I knit it. And as I changed to another type of yarn, another yarn gauge, I had to, it's not regrade, but, you know, recalculate how to do the shirt, no problem, or the sweater. So it has actually been on my needles for a year now, and yeah, I don't know why I've been procrastinating. Maybe it's many things, actually. It's the needle size. I saw this unevenness, and I'd been knitting in a lot of wool and needed a change shift, or what's it called? A shift of scenery, I would say. And then also my fingers, I have... the latest years, it has been exploding with, what's it called? Osteoarthritis. So they hurt a bit. I found my cure. If you're interested and you have similar problems with arthritis, I can tell you about it, because I'm so happy and thrilled that I actually could get rid of the pain, that I want to tell the whole world, and maybe they could benefit as well. But yeah, knitting programs is not about the illnesses. So I mean, if you're interested, I can do it. I think it's not a matter of age, actually, because I started my arthritis when I was 20 years old, and now I'm, what am I? 56. So it can start early. So if you could prevent from an early age, that would definitely be a benefit. Enough about arthritis. I guess we've come to the end now. It is hard for me because I have so many things I would like to tell you and show you, and it's hard to prioritize. But I guess I can just make another video soon. So if you are still here, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and got some inspiration for your summer projects. Learned something from the yarns I showed you, something you want to try. So if you want to see my progress on the, not this one, but the new summer blouse, you can check me out on Instagram. I have now made a profile, and I will try to be better at posting or showing the things I do. So check me out. Yeah, this was all. See you next time. Roger and over from Inge here. Bye bye, Ingesknittinglab.